You know me, SDMT. Monday Night Football was crazy last night, man. It got out of hand. It was a lot of hits. It was a lot of dirty hits. A lot went on. But one of the biggest plays of the night, Juju Smith-Schuster laid a devastating block on Burfict. Burfict was pursuing Le'Veon, and then Juju came, bow, smacked him, stood over him, and just sent that message. I'm sure the Steelers are tired of Burfict. He's landed several dirty hits around their players. Last time they played, he kicked their fullback, so there's no love lost for Burfict. Burfict is one of those players that he's hard to like because he plays the game so dirty. So when things like this happen to him, we don't have a lot of sympathy for him because he's done so many dirty plays. Now, Juju has been suspended for one game by the NFL. They cited that he did a crackback block that was unnecessary and dangerous to the head of an opponent. Then he stood over him and taunted. So Juju is looking at a one-game suspension. He is appealing that suspension. He may win. He may just have to pay a fine. In the locker room post the game, you can hear AB screaming, Antonio Brown screaming, karma, karma, about the Burfict hit when Juju was being, when he was doing his interview post game. So pretty much, this definitely was a message. The Steelers and the Bengals, man, that's a rivalry in a way, even though it's kind of not, because the Steelers usually are a little better, but they're in the same division, and these games they're very chippy, and there's some hard hits, and some are legal, some are illegal, and it's a lot going on in these games. So it's pretty crazy that this all happened. George Iloka, he laid a big hit on Antonio Brown's catch that helps him break the record for the most catches over a 5-year span. Antonio Brown, the best receiver in the game. I've been telling y'all, but people don't want to believe it, but you just keep looking. Year after year, he's at the top, putting up those stats and making those plays. So let's get back to George Iloka with the hit on Antonio Brown. That play was kind of bang, bang, but it definitely was the crown of the helmet into Antonio Brown's face mask and helmet. Antonio Brown was okay. He popped up, but Iloka was suspended for one game also. So a lot of people are saying which play was more dirty. I would have to go with Juju, just because on a crackback block, you have a lot of time to think. You know what you're going to do. If you played football and you laid a crackback, in your mind, you was like, I'm about to get him. I'm about to destroy him. I'm about to clean him. Bow! And if you land that clean hit and it feels good, and you stand up and you overdo it, you knew what you were doing. It was premeditated, and those plays are, they're not a coincidence. Now, the play with Antonio Brown is a bang, bang, catch hit. Yeah, he was high, and he did lower his helmet, but it was a quick reaction. You know what I mean? It was one of those things, it was a quick reaction. So the game is so fast a lot of times, you can be a little bit, lenient on plays like that. The Juju play, I'm a fan of Juju. He's from the West Coast. I'm not hating on him. He did do what he did. He tweeted, he put on his Instagram after the game, and he tweeted that it wasn't his intention to hurt Burfict, and he doesn't play the game that way. And he also apologized for standing over him, saying that's not who he is. But there's really a lot going on, and in that locker room, they know the truth. They know they don't like Burfict. They know that, I'm sure somebody was saying they're going to get him. Somebody had a plan to get him. I've been in locker rooms. I'm sure you've been in locker rooms. When somebody's landing a lot of dirty hits, things like that, some guys are like, we catch them slipping, we going to get them. We catch them lacking. Bow! So it's pretty crazy. They're both appealing. They may both get off with just a fine. The players have been very successful with their appeals lately, so we will see. You guys let me know what you guys think in the comments. Was it clean? Was it dirty? Are they taking the fun out of football? And to that, I want to say, one more thing before I end this video. A lot of people say, oh, they're taking the fun out of football. They're taking the hitting. But these are the same people screaming, helmet to helmet. You can't touch the quarterback's helmet. If you're, for player safety, you need to be for player safety all the time. Don't be, oh, they need to take it back to the hard days and the hitting, and then talk about, oh, helmet to helmet, you can't touch Tom Brady's helmet. Oh, you can't, do this. You need to be consistent, Me, I understand what the NFL is trying to do. The participation in football these days is going down with all the safety concerns of parents. So the NFL is really trying to sell itself as safer. So they're making a lot of these rules and making a lot of these changes, hopefully trying to preserve the game of football so it stays around and make it safer so parents don't have a problem with their kids playing, which, with CTE and concussions and a lot of the players that complain about these rules also, they have former players that were suing and complaining about player safety, concussions, and CTE. So it's not just the NFL making these rules or taking these hits away. It's also the players that were, complaining and were concerned about safety. So it's definitely hypocritical. You can't really complain about something and then, bypass it on one instance. People are saying, oh, that was a dirty hit on Antonio Brown. But the Juju hit, that was a clean block. Pretty much what the NFL is trying to eliminate are defenseless hits to players' head or neck without them being able to protect themselves. And that's on the defensive side and the offensive side. Now, they've made so many rules to protect the offense, and people love it. They love the offense. They love fantasy football. They love the stats. And that's another thing. A lot of these stats are blown up. You couldn't do that back in the day. You couldn't throw over the middle like that because guys were getting killed, and a lot of receivers didn't want to go across the middle. These days, you can catch the ball across the middle and know that somebody's not going to be headhunting. Back in the day, you had to be a certain type of tough receiver because you knew that you could, lose your brain going across that middle. So these stats are definitely blown up these days. So you can't really compare the stats now to back in the day. When Dan Marino was throwing the ball and when cornerbacks could, grab receivers and they can get hit over the middle, get hit in the head, and quarterbacks can get hit in the head. It was a lot more difficult. Yeah, the athletes are better, but the rule changes really benefit the offense. So that's why we see these high stats and we see a lot of these things. So the NFL recently has been trying to protect defenders. We had a lot of defenders get hurt with chop blocks to the knees, so they made rules about that, and they had the crackback rule. So these rules are necessary for the preservation of football. So I understand that. Yeah, I played back in the day, and I played some crackback blocks. I took some people out, and some people got me, and it was just part of the game. But, with player safety, concussions, and CTE, the NFL is trying to make the game safer. I understand it. Can you really make football safer? It's tough. I don't know if you really can because it's such a fast game and you have big and strong conditioned players just slamming into each other. Anything can happen. So this is pretty crazy. We'll see how this goes. Does Juju get suspended or does he just get fined? Does Iloka get off also? We will see. But it was a pretty crazy game. We like to see, teams that hate each other, but sometimes things get out of control. So you guys let me know what you guys think in the comments. Watch the full videos. Don't forget to like and subscribe. SDMT!